Step back and connect all the dots here. On one side, you've got a Congresswoman whose legislative push and political network are now tied to the largest COVID feeding fraud in America, involving hundreds of millions of dollars stolen from children, and her allies pleading guilty and her donors being indicted. On the other side, you've got mounting testimony from inside her own community that she abused America's immigration merit systems to benefit her own family, then spent years stonewalling anyone who asked for clarity. This is not a right-wing conspiracy. These are court documents, federal indictments, on-the-record witnesses, and mainstream outlets finally catching up. The walls are closing in on Ilhan Omar because the story is no longer about tweets or slogans or identity politics. It's about whether one of the most radical members of Congress sits atop a foundation of fraud. Fraud against American taxpayers and fraud against America's immigration laws. This is a scandal no amount of media spin can protect forever. Stay tuned because this story is only going to get bigger. And the political shield around Ilhan Omar is starting to crack. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to hear anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless. If today's message resonated with you, you'll love Turley.
All right. So we're going to go on to our next story, the January 6th pipe bomb. Pull up my notes so we can talk about this. So, okay. So let's go over the official arrest and announcement that took place December 4th to 5th, 2025. Who was arrested? Federal authorities arrested Brian J. Cole Jr., a 30-year-old man from Woodbridge, Virginia, in connection with 2 pipe bombs planted near the Republican National Committee, RNC, and Democratic National Committee, DNC, headquarters on the evening of January 5th, 2021, the night before the Capitol riot. This was reported by the Times Magazine. Charges filed. Cole was charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and attempted malice destruction by means of explosive materials as outlined in charging documents, the Washington Post reported. Official press conference. So we're going to well, this one's not a good one. I actually need a better press conference. Let's see. I think we could probably react to this one. This one's probably better because it cuts off at one point.
Use of an explosive.
It cuts off at one point, so we're just gonna get this one right here, a brief summarize of the press conference. I was gonna use this one originally, but then I realized like it does cut off at some point during the press conference. Because they have like some technical difficulties, but I want to get everyone's reactions. I want to get Dan Bongino. I want to get Cash Patel. I want to get Pam Bundy. And I want to get the prosecutor. I want to get all their I forgot her name. Sorry, I forget her name. Yeah, so I want to get everyone's reactions. I want to get everyone's comments. I want to get everyone's statements about this guy right here, especially Dan Bongino, because he was like the ringleader in getting this the deputy director of the FBI. Because I guess Cash Patel was too busy trying to look for another jacket, like the Jacketgate scandal. I'm contemplating playing that video for you guys about that after I cover this one. But yeah, we're already kind of pushed for time.
Device. This investigation is ongoing as we speak. Search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple
U.S. attorney. I forgot her name. Still, it's the U.S. attorney. I forgot what her title was, but I know she was part of the division, but I forgot which was her title, and it was Attorney General. Not Attorney General, U.S. Attorney.
Agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear. There was no new tip. There was no new witness. Just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team, along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds. I cannot stress enough how hard Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino have worked for months to make our nation's capital safer and to make our country safer. I'd like to introduce now Director Patel.
Thank you, General. When you attack American citizens, when you attack our institutions of legislation, when you attack our nation's capital, you attack the very being of our way of life. And this FBI and this Department of Justice stand here to tell you that we will always refute it and combat it. We will provide the safest country the nation has ever seen under President Trump's leadership here. And that's what we did here today with great resolve on a case of massive public importance, as it should be. An individual who is now alleged to have placed multiple explosive devices to blow up multiple people and multiple officials, innocent civilians, is now arrested thanks to the brave men and women of the FBI and the interagency. I want to take a moment to thank the Metropolitan Police Department, the United States Capitol Police, our brave prosecutors, the Department of Justice, and our leader, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, whose relentless work on this case made this possible. As the Attorney General said, we did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the Deputy Director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do. As a result of that, we generated numerous investigative leads, executed multiple legal process with our U.S. attorney partners, and came to this conclusion today. And that is why we were able to safely secure this individual into custody. Remember, we are dealing with an individual who is alleged to have made bombs. We cannot do this sort of takedown in haste because it endangers the lives of law enforcement. And this FBI will never allow the lives of law enforcement and our prosecutors to be put in jeopardy. This execution was flawless in terms of teamwork, resilience, and just a good old-fashioned way of police getting the job done. When you let good cops be cops, this is what happens. I'm eternally grateful to the team behind me, to the leadership at the FBI who made this possible. But I do want to highlight, when I introduced the deputy, he made this case and so many others, including Summer Heat, his priority to come in here and solve it for the American people. And today, I'm proud to stand here before you and say, we solved it. He will have his day in court. The American public and the world will learn even more information through the legal process, as we have committed under this Attorney General. We are the most transparent law enforcement operation in U.S. history, but we are also going to make sure accountability is delivered to its fullest extent. And that happens in the courts of law with our U.S. attorneys and our prosecutors. So we will divulge information when it is prudent and constitutionally permissible, while upholding the safeguards of this case to make sure that the people that this individual intended to victimize get the accountability they deserve, and most importantly, to deliver on President Trump's promise to secure our nation's capital and the rest of the cities in this country, to make sure that Americans are allowed to go out free and securely in their neighborhoods, and that people around the world are allowed to visit our nation's capital, and they now have that trust thanks to the leadership of the FBI, the Washington field office, and I'm honored now to introduce to you Deputy Director Bongino, who spearheaded this investigation.
Thank you all for being here for this critical investigation we've been working on for a very long time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Attorney General and Director. I appreciate it. Folks, this is what it's like when you work for a president who tells you to go get the bad guys and stop focusing on other extraneous things not related to law enforcement. This is what happens. We had a great team. I know it's said a lot in this business. It was a team effort. It becomes cliche, but cliches are useful for a reason because they matter. And this was a team effort. The Director and the Attorney General emphasized that it was not a new public tip this came from. This was our internal work at the FBI. And I want to just really express my sincere gratitude to this Attorney General and this President for allowing us the latitude. I spoke with Ms. Bondi very early when we, maybe day 2, and I said, we're going to get this guy. And she said, yes, you are. And we did. I want to also thank, he's not here, but Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who we deal with often as well, who could not have been more supportive. Whatever process we need, Judge Jeanine, Todd, and Attorney General Bondi, they were there. All you had to do, they were a phone call away. And their team was amazing. We actually never had to make that phone call because they were always responsive. And thank you, Judge, as well. You were amazing. Folks, you're not going to walk into our capital city, put down 2 explosive devices, and walk off in the sunset. Not going to happen. We were going to track this person to the end of the earth. There was no way he was getting away. Well, we didn't have to track him to the end of the earth. It wound up in Woodbridge, Virginia. I want to thank the team. They were amazing. They never let this go. Again, Attorney General Bondi, for your incredible support. Director Patel, Judge, I know they're giving me a lot of unnecessary credit, but make no mistake, they were intimately involved in this and were there for all of those supportive mechanisms, and I deeply appreciate it. The man whose team did the work is the Assistant Director in charge of our Washington field office, Darren Cox. Darren's got some comments, and Darren has some more details on the case he can provide. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate it.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Darren Cox. I'm the Assistant Director in charge of the Washington field office. Today's arrest of the alleged D.C. pipe bomber is a momentous day for the American public, for the FBI, for our Joint Terrorism Task Force, or the JTTF, and our partners, the U.S. Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and ATF. We've also had a large number of other federal, state, and local departments that have worked on this investigation. And last but not least, the U.S. Attorney's Office. We all worked hand in hand to solve this investigation. This has been a long week.
Coming up after this, we're going to be reacting to Nick Fuentes and the Piers Morgan interview / debate. So stay tuned.
In DC. After the terrorist attack last week, the grit and determination of the FBI and our law enforcement partners is an example to the American public of what cooperation, partnership, and selfless service can accomplish.